Hi friends, I'm Diane. I'm 59 years old, postmenopausal, and I've lost and maintained 105 pounds since starting a GLP-1 medication in November of 2022. Today I'm going to talk about the new meal plan I've come up with. Over the past few months, I've actually gained 15 pounds while on a GLP-1. So I needed to restructure everything to get myself back on track. And today I'm going to discuss the steps that I've done in order to do that. I want to preface this video by saying I am not a medical professional or a dietitian, and I am no way telling you what you should or should not eat or how you should eat. This is only my personal experience and my own opinions. Everyone has their own goals and needs. I'm just going to show you the framework that I'm using in order to continue to lose weight. Now, like I've mentioned, I've gained 15 pounds over the past few months. Since I've been implementing this plan, I've already lost 5 of those 15 pounds. I'm the type of person that I can't eat the same thing 5 days in a row. I get bored very easily. I also was wasting a lot of food, and I found that very frustrating. I needed a system that was simple, flexible, and not overwhelming. I find meal prep tedious, and I have struggled with it throughout this whole process. And when I started taking a GLP-1 medication, I did not meal prep, and I did not track my food, my food intake. At the beginning, my appetite suppression was so strong, it was just a matter of trying to get enough calories and enough protein to get through my day. So I started eating small meals throughout the day. For example, for breakfast, I would just have a pre-made protein shake because that was all I could stomach. Since I've been on a GLP-1 medication for over 3 years and I've lost a significant amount of weight, my body has changed and its needs have changed. What I was doing early on in my journey doesn't seem to be working now, so I needed to adapt the system that I'm using. Unfortunately, like many other people, you see all these Instagram perfect meals, and it's intimidating. And I got sucked into that. I'm not a cook. My meals do not look Instagram worthy. And I needed to stop putting that pressure on myself. I was overcomplicating everything, and that led to stress. It led to food waste. It led to decision fatigue. I just need my meals to be simple, nourishing, and satiating. So I plan on showing you a typical day of eating for me now, as well as the tools that I'm using in order to achieve that. Please note that I am not currently tracking my food intake, and that is not something that I'm suggesting that you do or advocating that you do. It's just what's working for me now. It's reducing my stress level. So that's how I plan on going forward just for the foreseeable future. That doesn't mean I will never track my meals again. It's just right now, I don't need the pressure of doing that. What's great about what I'm doing now is I feel full and satiated throughout the day, and I am not tempted to snack, which was a problem I was starting to have as the appetite suppression wasn't as strong as it had been early on in my journey. I'm currently on 12.5 milligrams of Mounjaro, and I have been for probably 8 or 9 months. The food noise has come back, and the appetite suppression wasn't there. That has recently changed for me. I have not changed my dose. What happened is I got the flu, and for some reason, since I've had the flu, I have more appetite suppression. The food noise isn't quite as strong as it had been, and I don't know if there's a correlation, but it seems to have happened at the same time, so I'm taking advantage of that. The other good thing about the program that I'm doing now is it's very flexible. I'm not bored with what I'm eating. I'm able to change things kind of on the fly without causing too much stress. And it's very adaptable and flexible. And that has made such a huge difference for me in feeling satiated. Okay, let's go head to my kitchen and I will show you a typical day where I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and an evening snack. Okay, we're in my kitchen and I just want to show you what a typical day of eating is for me now with this new plan that I've come up with. I want to preface this by saying I am not a big breakfast eater. I've never been one. I get up very early in the morning around 5 a.m. I'm also on thyroid medication, therefore I'm not supposed to eat for a period of time after taking the medication. But my stomach just doesn't tolerate breakfast early in the morning. So I've been sort of holding off eating till about 9 a.m. The first thing that I'm doing is I'm trying to increase my water intake. I'm not great about that, and it comes up a lot of times when I get my blood work done saying that I'm dehydrated. So my plan to sort of combat that, and the fact that I'm not going to eat my first meal till 9 o'clock or so, is I'm going to start drinking water first thing in the morning up until the time that I have my first meal. And what I've decided is I'm going to start using electrolytes. The Element orange salt is my favorite. This video is not sponsored by Element. I would love it if it was. Well, I want to start doing this every morning before I have my first meal of the day. Now, I'm not purposely sort of doing an intermittent fast. It's just, like I said, my stomach doesn't tolerate food first thing in the morning, so I'm just having a longer window from when my last meal at night is until the first meal in the morning. All right, once 9 o'clock rolls around, I like to start the ball rolling with a protein chai latte. I do not drink coffee at all. I don't like the taste. So what I've been doing is having a protein chai latte in its place. I start with some vanilla chai, which is my favorite. To that, I add some of the Jordan Skinny Syrup chai syrup. And then what I add to it is one of these Atkins Strong protein shakes. I've tried a bunch of different vanilla ones. These I think taste the best, and they're not as expensive as some of the others. So I use this in the latte instead of milk. So for just the latte, I have about 30 grams of protein. Now, I don't want to just drink my calories and drink my protein. So with that, I will usually have something small, maybe a couple of hard-boiled eggs, maybe an egg bite. I also make pancake bites that have protein in them. It's oats and cottage cheese, and I usually do like raspberries and lemon and things like that. So between the chai latte and then whatever I have, I try to get anywhere between 40 to 50 grams of protein in my breakfast, and it roughly works out to about 400 or so calories. Okay, moving on to lunchtime. That's where I've made one of the biggest changes. I was someone who always had a green salad for lunch. You know, green salad, vegetables, and some sort of protein, usually chicken. And I would change dressings and little components here and there, and I got so bored of it that I didn't want to eat it. A few months back, I saw a video, I believe it was from Jen Chapin, and she was talking about meal prep containers that she found that she really liked. And I looked at them and I thought, I think I could use those. So they're by Bentgo, and I've shown these before on my channel. So this is 3 compartments. The large compartment is a 2-cup serving, and these smaller compartments are 1-cup serving. What I've started to do in order to increase my fiber and eat more vegetables and more fruit is in one of these compartments, I will fill it with vegetables. This compartment, I will fill it with fruit. And what I like about this is I can rotate what I put in here. It's not just like a green salad. I have done everything from cherry tomatoes and cucumbers, sugar snap peas, green beans, any kind of vegetable that you can think that you can just snack on. that's what I've been putting in here. For the fruit, again, rotating it, half an orange. I like to do some sort of berry, and blackberries are my favorite. So there's usually part of this is blackberries. I've done raspberries, I've done pineapple, I've done apples, just whatever you can imagine, I've done. This part, I have started doing different kinds of salads, not green salads. I make a copycat Arby's chicken salad that has rotisserie chicken, grapes, apples, celery, sometimes carrots, and some light mayo. I also make a tuna salad with light mayo, celery, carrots, and feta cheese. I know that sounds weird, but I like the way that tastes. I've also done what I call a deconstructed deviled egg salad, where you chop up eggs, light mayo, yellow mustard. I'll take either turkey bacon or regular bacon and chop it up, and everything but the bagel seasoning. And I mix all of that up and put that in here. One week I actually made barbecue chicken quesadillas. And it was just rotisserie chicken, G. Hughes barbecue sauce, a little bit of pepper jack cheese sandwiched between 2 high fiber tortillas. And I would cut it into 4 pieces, and I'd only put 3 in here. And this has been a game changer for me. By filling it with the fruits and the vegetables and adding the salad, it's very filling, it's very satiating. I love the flexibility that I can change any component I want whenever I want. I usually meal prep my lunches Monday to Wednesday on Sunday. I go grocery shopping on Wednesdays. And so if I'm bored of something that I had in these compartments, it's very easy to switch them out. What I really like about this is it keeps me full and satiated. I usually get home from work about 3 o'clock and I'm hungry, and I'd start looking for snacks. And I find with eating this for lunch, this usually ends up being my largest meal of the day. This keeps me full and satiated till dinner. So when I do get home from work, I'm not looking for a snack. And I just like that I'm getting a lot of fiber from the fruit and the veg, and it does really keep me full. Now for dinner. One of the biggest problems I have is decision fatigue. I work out of the home. When I do get home, we have several pets, including some that have medical issues that I need to give them medication multiple times a day. And I'm taking care of the house. My husband's working almost 7 days a week right now. He got a new job and he's a supervisor, and it's just, he's working a lot of hours, and he's working many hours each day. So I've taken on some of the responsibilities around the house just to make it easier on him. So when I get home, the last thing I want to do is try to figure out what the heck I'm going to have for dinner. So lately my YouTube feed has been showing me a lot of videos where people are using the silicone molds to prepare and freeze food. The Lego bricks, if you've seen any of those videos. And I was watching one day and I'm like, I have some of those molds. The most well-known ones are the super cubes. I don't have, or at least I didn't at that time have any super cubes. I had these knockoffs that I had bought years ago. And what I had been using them for is my husband likes to garden. And what you need to know about him is when he does something, he doesn't do it halfway. So he started this large garden in our side and backyards, and he doesn't grow one kind of tomato, he grows 12. He doesn't grow one kind of pepper, he grows 15. So we were getting an overabundance of vegetables, and there was no way just the two of us could eat them. We were eating what we could, we were giving away some to friends and family, and it got to the point where he had so much stuff that we were starting to give it to a local food pantry. And he was giving probably about 10 pounds of vegetables every week. That's how much stuff we were getting. So we had gotten so many tomatoes, and I was afraid they were going to go bad. I didn't want all of his hard work to go to waste. So I'm trying to think to myself, what can I do with all of these tomatoes? And I'm like, you know, I could either make soup or sauce. Now, if you're like me, an Italian, this wasn't an authentic Italian sauce, or if you're from South Jersey, gravy. I was just trying to use up all this stuff. So basically what it was is throw in get a big pot, throw in onion and garlic and any vegetables I had. I'd use mushrooms, I'd use celery, I'd use carrots. He was actually growing pole beans at the time, and they would grow so fast we couldn't pick them fast enough. And they would get to be like this long. And when they're that long, they're really mealy and they don't taste good. So I decided to chop those up, throw this all in a pan and let it cook till everything softens. And then I took all of the tomatoes, chopped them up, stuck them in there. He was growing fresh herbs, so I put fresh herbs in it, some dried herbs, and I would just let it cook for a couple of hours till the tomatoes started to break down. Then I would use an immersion blender and, you know, pulverize it. You don't taste the other vegetables, all you taste is the tomato. And I was making these huge pots of sauce. And there was no way he and I could eat that before it would start to go bad. So I remembered I had, at some point several years ago, I had bought these. And I'm like, you know what, I could freeze these. So that's what I did. And over the course of, I think, a couple of years, I must have had, I want to say, 31 cup servings of sauce in my freezer. Now, we've been using it over the course of time. I haven't had to buy jarred sauce in a couple of years. And I still have a few left. But when I started watching these YouTube videos about people making like rice and all kinds of different things in these silicone molds, it's like a light bulb went off. And I'm like, I have these molds. I could do that. I could start prepping stuff and stick them in the molds, stick them in my freezer, and then dinner time, just go in and pick out whatever I want. Now these are 1 cup molds. I also have the 1/2 cup molds. And for my birthday this year, I went and actually bought myself the name brand Super Cubes in the 2 cup serving. And I think this is going to be good for like soups, stews, chili, things like that. So the first thing I started off with was actually leftovers. Bob and I, for the holidays, we normally have our meal catered. And for some reason on Christmas, we ordered 2 pounds of pulled barbecue chicken. Don't ask me why 2 pounds, but we did. And I knew there was going to be no way we were going to be able to eat that before it started to go bad. So after just watching these videos, I'm like, I could freeze it. So I did. And I don't even remember how many I got out of it, but it was quite a bit. And I stuck that in my freezer. About the same time, I had some potatoes that were about to go bad, so I made some garlic mashed potatoes, froze that. I had some spinach that was on its last legs. I cooked that up and I froze that. So it's really nice because you can actually prep things, or you can use it to freeze leftovers to have later. So what I do is I freeze it, I put them in Ziploc bags, I make a note of what it is on the bag and the date. So that way, if I have multiple bags or, you know, I have a lot of something, I go and I use the oldest stuff first. So this would be like a typical thing. I would go in to my freezer, and I know it's got a little bit of freezer stuff on it, but I would grab a protein, some chicken, some mashed potatoes, and this is spinach and mushrooms. And I just warm this up. It's already pre-portioned. No decision fatigue. I just go, whatever sounds good in the freezer, that's what I take. What I really like about this is it allows you to mix and match different things depending on whatever you feel like having that night. I've made something like the chicken, the mashed potatoes, and the vegetable. I've done taco bowls. You don't even have to take one from each category. You can just take the protein out, or you could just take, sweet potatoes out or whatever, and make a meal. And I swear it has helped my decision fatigue so much. And the other great thing about it is that I've greatly reduced my food waste. I was buying stuff, I was going grocery shopping, buying things, and then it would go bad before I had a chance to eat it. And now, if I see something's getting on the edge of going bad, I cook it, stick it in a cube, freeze it, so I still have it, I can still use it. I'm not wasting money and I'm not wasting food, because that was stressing me out on top of everything else. So when I decided to do this, I did not just go out one week and just cook a whole bunch of stuff. What my plan and what I've been doing is every week I try to make something for the freezer. Whether it's a protein, whether it's a carb, or whether it's vegetables. So that way it's not overwhelming me and I don't feel like I have to spend my entire Sunday cooking. I can just make one thing, and I can make it anytime during the week when I have some time, and I just stick it in the freezer and it's there. Okay, I have 3 tips for you if this is something that you want to do. This is what I've learned through a little bit of trial and error. So hopefully it saves you some time. First of all, super cubes are expensive, I'm not going to lie, but they're very well made. There are knockoffs available. This is what I bought. One thing I would recommend that you do, make sure you buy, if you're not going to buy the super cube ones, if you are going to buy a knockoff, make sure when you buy it that it's got the reinforced rim. You see, I can't fold this up or push it in because inside there's a metal piece that keeps this sturdy. And let me tell you, you don't want to buy one. I've actually seen videos where people were using ones where they're so flexible that you can actually curl it up into a ball. You don't want that, especially if you're going to be using it for any kind of liquid, because they're going to spill. And if you've got the reinforced rim, it keeps it sturdy and you're not going to spill it. This part is very flexible and that's fine, but just make sure that this part is reinforced and is stiff. Tip number 2, keep a list of whatever you have in the freezer in the front of your refrigerator. What I do is I list every individual item along with the quantity. When I use something, I cross it off. I'll cross off and make a note of the new count. It helps me keep track of what's in the freezer. It also helps me keep track of what I have left, and I can see what I'm eating repeatedly, so I know that that's something that I'll want to make again. But it also lets me know when things are getting low. So, if I'm running out of a particular protein, all right, and I'm eating it quite often, I need to go make more of that to restock. Okay, my 3rd tip for you is if you're going to make anything with pasta and freeze it, make sure that you undercook the pasta just a little bit, perhaps even al dente, because when you reheat it, it's going to cook a little bit more. I learned the hard way with this, and the pasta got really funky and mushy and wasn't great consistency wise. So if you undercook it just a little bit, when you reheat it, it'll be much better. Okay, some things I'm thinking about adding to my stash when Bob's tomatoes all come in later this year, probably in August or so. I'm thinking about making a bolognese sauce. with that, just to have something different because I still have quite a bit of sauce, just plain sauce down there. I also want to make some fried rice using cauliflower rice and then regular rice and kind of mix it in together and freeze it in bricks, so that way I can use that for if I want to sort of make an Asian type meal, or I just want to have some rice. That's another thing that's on my list to do. I also want to make some chili, even though the weather's slowly starting to get warmer. I want to have that in there for a good comfort kind of meal on those days. Another thing I've been thinking about is sort of making a deconstructed chicken pot pie. Just sort of make the filling, freeze it, and then use that to make a meal out of, whether I put it over rice or make like a biscuit or something like that to have with it. So if you have any ideas of things that either you make or that you think are, or you have any recipes that you particularly like, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. I'm looking for ideas for what to add to my stash. I am the type of person who likes to have a sweet treat at night. And I've been trying to think of something to have that would be filling, that would have some protein, something to satisfy that sweet treat craving. What I've been doing is taking some zero sugar Jell-O pudding, making it with Fairlife milk, and this is my sweet treat at night. Now normally a box of the Jell-O pudding is 4 servings, but I make it into 2 servings, so as you can see it's a pretty hefty serving. So this has 1 cup of the Fairlife milk in it. Between the milk and the pudding mix, it's less than 200 calories and about 14 or 15 grams of protein. What's great about this is I have this at night and it keeps me full till the next morning. So when I get up in the morning, like I said, I can't really eat I just can't stomach anything, and I'm not hungry until later in the morning. So this is what I'm doing now, but I'm definitely looking for ideas of other high protein sweet treats that have a decent volume to them. If you have any ideas, please share them. So I think the biggest takeaway from this, going towards more volume eating, as you could see, my lunch, that container is usually pretty full with food. The pudding is a higher volume snack. And right now that seems to be working well for me. Like I've mentioned, I have gained 15 pounds over the past several months due to things going on in my life. But since I switched the way I've been eating, I've lost 5 of those 15 pounds. And prior to gaining the 15 pounds, my weight loss was pretty stagnant. I was bouncing around the same 5 pounds for a long time, and I finally feel like I've got myself in the position to move forward, and the weight loss is coming, and it's coming slowly, but that's okay. For me, losing more slowly is better, and I don't feel deprived of anything. I'm eating whole, healthy food. I'm feeling full, I'm feeling satiated, and I'm losing weight. What I also like is that I can change things day to day very easily. Prior to this, I was meal prepping for each day of the week. I was prepping for 5 days, and by day 3, I would be completely bored with what I was eating, and I didn't want to eat that same thing for the rest of the week, and that was leading to food waste. So I've gotten rid of the decision fatigue. I've gotten rid of the food waste. I'm saving money. I'm eating healthier, and I'm losing weight. So I hope you found this video interesting and informative. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and sharing this video with anyone that you think might benefit from it. If you have any questions or comments about the plan that I'm doing right now, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment box. I will respond. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.
a little bit of loving, just a little bit the real.